Hello folks, Abfielder here, back with a quick look at this week's snapshot, which is the 1.18 experimental snapshot number 3. If you need to know how to install the experimental snapshots, it's a little trickier than normal. Link is in the top right hand corner, got a video covering that very subject. So we're going to take a quick look at some of this week's changes, and there is a lot in here, so it's going to be a very brief look at some of this stuff. The first thing, and the thing we're looking at now, is that they've reduced the frequency with which the wrong biomes can appear together. So what you would get with these Badlands biomes and the desert biomes is you would get snow right next to them, snow and ice, and it would look odd. It made no sense whatsoever. They appear to have completely removed that from happening now, I think. I haven't found any anyway. It looks a lot better. They've also brought back red sand because there was a problem with red sand, so that it wasn't showing up all the time. It will all generate higher up, but there is plenty of red sand in this seed. So that is a really good change. Like I say, I'm not finding weird biomes next to each other. I'm not finding snow in the middle of desert. Excellent change. Let's go on to change number 2. So the second change that I want to discuss is that they've increased the noisiness. With experimental update number 1, there was loads of noisiness. They dialed that right back for change number 2. And then change number 3, they've increased it. And what noisiness is these little biomes that you see below me, those little bamboo jungle biomes, and what else have we got over here? More jungle biomes. These little micro biomes, they've increased the frequency with which they can appear again. And I do think that's actually a good change. It increases the variance just that little bit more. Now they've sort of smoothed out the odd biomes appearing with each other, like the snow ones in that previous change. I think it looks a lot better again, although it primarily seems to occur with the bamboo jungle. But I have seen others as I go around. I think we've got a small Badlands here by the looks of it. Yeah, small Badlands here. I think that looks really good. Gives you some, like I say, it stops it looking samey. And I think that's a good change as well. Okay then folks, let's go on to change number 3. This one was a little bit tricky to demonstrate. I'm struggling to find it. But what we have in front of us on the screen right here is the shattered Savannah biome. And all they've done is just smoothed out the cliffs a little bit. And as they described it, so it doesn't look like a chunk loading error anymore. That's probably quite a good change. You do get some weird stuff with the shattered savannas, and I prefer how it looks now. You still get some of the very cut off kind of cliffs, as you can see in the top right hand corner there. But I think overall, just smoothing that out just that little bit, I think that works. That looks a lot better than it used to, I think. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. Next up is these really subtle subscribe to Abfielder structures. No, I'm just kidding folks. If you are enjoying the video though, please consider giving it a like and consider subscribing to the channel for more of these snapshot type videos. The next change then is a new biome, Stony Peaks. This is very, very subtle, but the reason they've added these in is where you've got the desert and you don't want those snowy, weird biomes appearing right next to it. They've added Stony Peaks just to help with that transition. So it doesn't go desert, snow, ice. You get these Stony Peaks in between, and then you get some snow, and it looks 100% better. I'm a huge fan of it. Looks awesome. And this terrain just around here in general is utterly stunning. Right, folks, next one. Next up then, and before we get on to it, actually, we have the village up here. So they have added structures to these kind of mountain biomes, and that looks a little bit messed up. But what I wanted to talk about was the aquifers have been changed slightly, so they are less likely to mess up the sides of rivers and coastlines as well. But I actually love how this looks down here. I think this is amazing. Let's just give myself the effect of night vision. You know, that looks awesome. And I probably didn't want the effects, did I? Let's add it on permanently just in case we look at any other dark locations. Remove the particles. There we go. Perfect. I mean, that just looks, I think that looks stunning. I think the whole sort of transition from river down into the aquifer is amazing. And I only just caught a glimpse of it there, but there was a desert temple. The desert temples will now generate on the surface. So before they were generating below the surface at times. That has now been changed. Next up then is beaches were appearing all over the place and in some very odd places next to cliffs and what have you. They've been changed, so they broadly speaking will appear next to the lower lying kind of smoother areas like they are now in this clip. Let's head over here because we've got a few more. That looks a lot better. Like I said before, they were a little bit jarring. They're in slightly odd places. The second change that they've made to coastlines, if we can find one, we'll have a look in a second, is there was a huge amount of the stony kind of coastlines, like the cliff edges and stuff. That's been dialed right back. So we've got one over here, and that looks a lot better. They're a lot less frequent. And again, I think that's a good change. I think they were just a little bit too frequent before. So I like that they're a bit rarer. So 2 good changes. Every change so far this week has been a good change, if I'm being honest. Back to aquifers then. The frequency with which they appear and the variation in them has been massively changed. They're a lot less frequent now. In fact, I can't actually see one. Now this is good because what I was finding in Experimental Snapshot 2 is that pretty much every cave was waterlogged, and it made cave exploration, well, incredibly difficult, and the idea of doing perimeters and stuff with that was awful. This, in my opinion, is much, 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 much better. Can we find an aquifer, though? Have we got one over here? We got lots of little bits of water and that, but no flooded caves. We got some over here, possibly. There's lots of water over here. But again, I don't think that's... nope. Let's have a quick look around. I think we've got one over here. Here we go. Yeah, here we go. So you still get... just down below. So here we go. You still get the flooded caves, but they were a lot rarer. Makes a lot more sense. They were way too flooded before. I like that they've changed that. They've given us more variation. That is really, really good. Awesome. Well, folks, there are some more minor changes. Things like mob spawning has been slightly tweaked and what have you. But I'm just doing a quick look, as I said, so I just cover off some of the major stuff. If you enjoyed the video, as I said, please give the video a like and consider subscribing. Anyway, folks, I'm Upfielder. That's all I've got time for. Goodbye.